This is the Lake District, Cumbria, and for 8 years I was lucky enough to call this place home. As a filmmaker, I've been fortunate enough to travel the world with my camera, but I never took for granted how beautiful this place was to come home to. As a runner, however, I can honestly say in all my travels I've never found anywhere better. It's not just the terrain or the scenery that make this place special, it's also the people. Fell runners, as they're called here, are some of the greatest athletes you've never heard of. Maybe it's because of the weather, but as well as being some of the toughest, they're also the most humble and down-to-earth people I've ever met. If there was ever a fell runner's fell runner, it's my friend, Jacob. But this is his story, so I'll let him tell it. Him and his best mate, George.
My name's Jacob Tonkin. I'm a fell runner from Keswick in the Lake District. I'm 27, I had to think then. I'm 27 years old and I'm a clinical sportsman, so I live in the most beautiful place in the country, in my opinion. The Lake District's where fell running was born, and there's a reason why people come here, because it is just one of the most beautiful places in the world. You've got a mixture of rough, rugged mountains, you've got grassy mountains, and then down the bottom you've got lovely bodies of water which you can go and have a walk around, you can go and swim in. You know, in an ideal day you'll maybe do all of them in a day. Up in the mountains, down the lakes, nip into a nice town for coffee and cake afterwards. So fell running is the freedom that you get. So it's not like trail running or road running where you're confined to those roads or trails. You just go more or less wherever you want. If it's a fell race, it's usually trying to get to these checkpoints or tops, but you can go whichever way you want. So even if you are getting ready for a race, you'll often go around the route and try and find all these different lines. Which is the quickest way? Is it quicker to go through those bogs, or is it quicker to go up over the craggy bit? And it just takes you to all these brilliant places which nobody else gets to go and see. So I haven't always been a fell runner. When I was growing up, I'd often begrudgingly go out on the fells with my dad or my mum would drag me out. So I was very much overweight. You know, needed to sort myself out, and then over time I realised to appreciate where I actually live, and you want to go out on the fells, you want to go see these places, and you're doing more, and the progression leads to you want to do more, you want to do it quicker. So I started fell running, and I was getting myself really fit, lost quite a lot of weight, joined the athletics club, I was doing races every week, and I was getting some pretty good times. And then all of a sudden, unexplainably, one night, it was a Wednesday night race on the fell side race, which is north of Skidder, and on the last descent I was hammering it down the descent, and I just really didn't start to feel very well, and all of a sudden I had to go and stop and go to the toilet. I didn't think much of it at the time, finished the race off, got overtaken lots when I had to stop and kind of come in, and everyone's like, "Oh, are you alright? What's happened there?" And I said, "Oh no," come up with some terrible excuse. You don't really want to admit what is wrong with you at the time. Got back home, and that night I was meant to be going out later to support someone on the Bob Graham, and I was just sat glued to the toilet all night, and I just couldn't get off the toilet, and I was thinking, oh my god, you think, what's wrong with me? Have I eaten something? Am I going to be able to go out for a run? I've told these people I'm going, starting at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I thought, well, I'll be fine. So I didn't eat anything, went out for this Bob Graham support, had to stop again for the toilet another 3 times on that run. And I was thinking, oh, something isn't right. Certain trends started happening that it would carry on, and every now and then inexplicably I'd needed to go to the toilet, and then it all sort of spiralled downhill quite quickly. I was really ill, and I was going to the toilet, and a lot of the time it was just blood that was coming out, and It's the only way to describe it is terrifying, and I had no idea what was going on. Started to go to get medical help and go to the doctors. Fell into a bit of a rut of doctor's appointment. They couldn't find out what was wrong. They didn't know what was wrong, sent me to see someone else. And I just felt like I had nowhere to go. And that lasted for about a year of just this constant scared to go and do anything because I needed to go to the toilet. My mates had asked me to go out for a run. I didn't want to go because I knew as soon as I get 2 miles in, I was having to stop, 3 or 4 times. And then social side, I wouldn't go and do anything because I was too scared to be too far away from a toilet. And I ended up getting really, really depressed with it, terrified of just sitting down and just having blood coming through. And I got to a point where I really didn't care what was actually wrong with me. I just wanted to know what it was, because I knew as soon as I get that diagnosis, regardless what it is, I know that I can start doing some research, I can see what's going to help, I can try and plot a bit of a route forward. So Crohn's disease is an autoimmune disease, which is inflammatory bowel disease. So I've got it in that I get lots and lots of ulcers in my large intestine, which basically means that I can't absorb food the same. So food just basically comes in, passes through me and comes out. So those ulcers can get infected, lots of bad things can happen to them, and they can start to bleed, which is why I get a lot of blood, or I used to get a lot of blood when I was going to the toilet. I did push too much and I was working too much. I was trying to do everything when my body was just asking me to stop, and it just needed time to try and accept what's going on and to recover, when I was just constantly out trying to push it, feeling if I don't go out then I'm sort of admitting defeat to it. I thought if I stop running, I'm never going to get to a point where I'm going to start running again, because my body just was failing me and it just wasn't working. I first got George shortly after getting my diagnosis of having Crohn's, and when I first found out about or heard about him, I was sat on top of Castled Woods, which is just a little mound with some woods on it and this beautiful viewpoint across dirt and water, and a thing popped up on my Facebook that one of the local farms had a litter of puppies, and I was thinking, getting a dog would be great, it'd be just what I need, it'd be an excuse to get out, it would really help with everything. So I thought, right, sod it, I'm going to go up. So I ran down Castled and I bumped into my auntie, and she said, "Oh, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm just about to go see a man about a dog." And I ran back, got in the car, drove to the farm, got there, and there were 7 puppies in the litter. And the lady at the farm was going through which ones were taken and which ones were still available. And while she's going through this, she was, this one's taken, this one's available, going through them, this great big fat one comes waddling up to me with this like whole body wiggle, like a fish out of water kind of thing, starts chewing on my hands with these razor sharp teeth, crawls up on my lap and then fell asleep. And the lady was looking for the last one. She goes, "Oh, and the last one's the one on your lap that's available." And I thought, well, there we go. That's going to have to be that, isn't it?
George.
I went and found my mum and I said, "Oh, Mum, look, I've just been to see about a dog." And Mum gave me this look like, "You're not getting a dog." So I laid it on really thick and I said, "Oh, well, I've really been really ill, and I've been really depressed and not feeling great, and I just think having that in my life would give me reason again." I laid it on really thick, into the point where she was nearly in tears. She's like, "Of course you can." So then it was all systems go for like the next 3 weeks trying to get the house sorted, and then we brought him home.
Good lad. Hello. Hello.
But the second I picked him up, one of my mates came with me, and and she had him on his lap, and he was just, as I was driving back to Keswick, he was just trying to get onto my lap the whole time, and he was just constantly happy to see people, and he was just doing his full body shake from when he was this big until he was fully grown, and he just wanted to just see people and, you know, more or less tell them how happy he was to see them, and share that love with everyone. And he was just a bundle of joy the whole time. So he didn't just wag his tail, he wagged his whole body, and it was, you could see him bounding up towards people in the street doing this great big shake because he wanted to go and say hi to them.
It's gonna go. Georgie. Good boy.
So when George first came home with me, we were two ends of the spectrum. I was down here with all the weight in the world on my shoulders with all my health issues, and George was up here, and it was just any time I spent with him, I was just, you know, getting happier and happier and happier. Part of the reason of getting George was to give me this want to actually wake up again in the mornings, because I was getting to the point where I didn't see the point of getting up, and I just thought, you know, having that reason to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to let him outside for a wee. George was growing, I was getting back fit again to, you know, going on little runs, and we were very much teaching each other how to get through life almost.
So I've just started to run a bath, and George has gone over there to hide behind his nana. You having a bath, George? You coming in the bath?
And, you know, it sounds a bit daft, but, you know, I'd gone from, when I got George, I finally admitted defeat and thought, I'm going to have to stop running. So I stopped running, got George, and suddenly I didn't care about running. My life was George. And then George got old enough to start going for runs. I was getting well enough to take him on little runs, and, you know, the first time I went for a run, we only ran a mile, but it's one of the best miles I've ever run in my life. And I didn't care about feeling crap. I just loved every moment of that first little run. And then I loved every moment of every run we've ever had, ever since. So today is George's 1 year anniversary of coming to live here in this house. So I picked him up last year when he was 7 weeks old, and I could pick him up in one hand, and now he's this great big monstrosity of a lad. Yeah. So we're going to go out for a bit of a celebratory run.
Rainy days don't seem so wet. Stormy nights don't stay. From the moment that we met, you were worth the wait. Oh, this could be the best thing that I'll ever know. Best thing that I'll ever know.
The Wainwrights are mountains which Alfred Wainwright wrote about, and they're his 214 best views in the Lake District. Some people spend a lifetime trying to tick them all off, because once you've done those 214 Wainwrights, you've done the whole of the Lake District. I thought, I haven't actually been up every single Wainwright fell, so I thought I'd better start ticking them off. So I thought, rather than me do them, George can do them all. So a few of the early ones, I carried him up pretty much the whole way, and he ran round the top, had a wee and a poo, and then went back in his bag, and we carried on walking round. And sooner than we got a little book, and we were writing down all the fells that he's been to, writing down just a little paragraph about each run. each walk, every top is visited. We got a little scratch map and we'll keep ticking them all off. And that sort of gave me goals to actually get back properly fell running again. I was going places that I hadn't been before, or places I'd not been since I was tiny when my dad had taken me, just navving with my map and compass and really getting back to the actual roots of fell running. And that for me rekindled all my love of being out on the fells, and I can't find anything better than going out for a long run with your dog with you, because you just have a companion with you who he'll just keep going all day, wants to come home when he's tired, and he just has life sussed out. And spending your time with people who are like-minded and people like that really does enrich your enjoyment and feeds your soul, I guess.
A disease which causes pneumonia-like symptoms has infected almost 84,000 people in more than 50 countries.
Stay at home, protect our NHS and save lives.
Better days will return.
During lockdown, I'd been running a lot. Me and George had been out every single day. I had hoped that I could have done the Bob Graham, but I picked up a bit of a knee injury. So I started swimming loads, and I was going in swimming sometimes 3 times a day in lockdown, and I was absolutely loving it. The weather was fantastic, and I just thought, right, I'm gonna have to put this out there that I'm gonna have a go at the Frog Graham because I want to achieve something this year. So the Frog Graham is a 40-mile swim run event which starts and finishes at the Moot Hall in the middle of Keswick, similar to the Bob Graham. It goes up some of the biggest mountains in the country, but you also have to swim across 4 of the lakes. So I got a bit of a support crew going the week before. I said, right, I'm going to go on that Saturday, and I set off. So I had a big fall coming off skidder and cut my hand quite badly during my frog, and then I had a really rough patch after that, and the whole bit I just felt crap. My eyesight was all blurry. But then I knew on the last running leg that George was going to come and do it with me, and that to me was like the best possible partner to have coming to run that leg with me. And yeah, he wanted me to throw him a stick the whole time, and he was doing my head in, but he was with me, and it was like, right, we're going out, we're getting this done together. I got round in 14 hours and 2 minutes, which at the time was I think it was the 10th fastest time to do it. And yeah, had a brilliant day, loved it, weather was good. Couldn't ask for much better, really.
Get
got up to the moot hall and I touched the doors, the moot hall, it was my first time finishing a big round at the moot hall, and at that moment I thought, I've got my life back now, and I felt back to, I was easily fitter than I've ever been in my life, but in my mind that was sort of the switch. I thought, right, I'm back to where I want to be, having had almost 3 years of not being right, and that's when I thought, right, I'm back now. This is me. I can do things like this, and I still think now that, you know, now that I put my mind to it, I've got through that illness. I've completed things, and most of that is down to my relationship with George, just because he just taught me again how to live my life. He was very much my saviour, and he's like Mary Poppins, I think, in that he came when I most needed him, and then when I didn't need him anymore, he left. It was the 13th of August, and I dropped him off at my mum and dad's for the day because we were going over to the northeast, and my sister took him out for a walk, and they were in Castled Woods, and he had an accident and ended up jumping over a tree that had fallen and got pierced onto the tree, and he died later that day, and it is the worst day I've ever had in my life. And I dropped him off that morning and just said, I'll see you later, mate, and I never got to see him again. We buried him in mum and dad's garden. He was always so excited to go to mum and dad's house, and he loved it, and that's where he grew up. But then he always wanted to go back to see his nana and granddad, and he was just always so excited to go out with them. I never had to worry about him, and when he was in the vets that day that he died, it was the first time that I was ever had to worry about him, because I just thought, he's stronger than I am, because he's just so good at helping people, and to actually be in that situation where I had to worry about him for once, I didn't know what to do.
Hello! Hello, Georgie. Hello.
He saved me from I don't know what. You know, I was so ill and didn't feel I had much of a reason to go and do anything, and he got me back. And to lose him was just the worst thing I could have ever imagined for.
You little softy. Hey.
He died before he was 2. And in that short space of time, he had probably one of the best lives you could ever ask for. We ran pretty much every day. We'd swim in the lake, we ate crisps together on a daily basis. And he very much got me back to where I was. And those 18 months that he was here are the best 18 months of my life.
What a smart Christmas boy.
He died doing what he loved doing, out having an adventure with the people that he loved, so you can't really ask for much more than that.
Georgie, paw. Is your paw? Did you eat some cheese? Paw. Paw. Good paw.
We're now carrying on George's Wainwrights for him, so when he died, he'd done 104. So instead of taking him to the places, we've now got little bits of slate which we've painted a white G on for George, and we're leaving them off, dropping them off at all the summits that he didn't get to. And it's very much a case of, I could sit around and mope and cry about it forever, it feels, but I know that he'd want me to go for a run. He'd want to go out for a run if he was here. He'd want to be going out and seeing all these new places. You know, I know he's just a dog, and he probably wasn't even aware what the Wainwrights were, but he wanted to spend that time out on the fells. He was born in these fells, and that's what he was born to do. I just didn't want to leave it undone for him.
So we just dropped down into Martindale, along the road a little bit, up here.
goodbye. You didn't think they'd leave. We go down to the sea, and we feel like we're so free.
Birthday crisps.
It hits just like that dream where they catch us as we leave. Oh, oh,
Yeah, there's days when you think, oh, my legs hurt when I'm running. But in the back of my mind, I've always got that. It's not as bad as what George had to do. I do very much feel when I'm doing that he's with me, so to speak, and you know, every stone I put down, I'd just say, love you mate, and put the stone down for him. And sometimes I hang around the top for a bit, take a few photos, other times I'd sneak off. This is Birkhouse Moor on my 30th birthday, and this is the last G-stone. So it's the last one I need to put down. For the last 3 years of trying to do this without him, I've almost not wanted to finish it, because this was mine and George's thing, you know, getting back on the fells and going places I've not necessarily been before, and getting my life back. And you know, I sort of feel like now this morning that this is what my life is, coming out places like this. So it's a mixture of emotions really. I feel sad, but you know, at the same time I'm exceptionally happy, and you know, I feel really lucky that I've been able to do this, and it's just a shame that my best mate's not with me. There we go. I just think about him all the time, and there isn't a day that goes by when I don't think about him. And when I go to bed at night, he'd always sleep on the sofa, and every night I've touched the armrest of the armchair and just said, love you mate, in the night, and then gone to bed. And it's, I don't know, that might go on for the rest of my life, who knows.
Yeah, good boy. Well done. Well done, Georgie.